Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be sewing the Game Time hoodie. I'm wearing it today. It's super cute, super simple, super fun to sew. Let's do it. Alright y'all, my sleeves are rolled up and I'm ready to sew. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our bodice and we're going to put it face up on our board, and we're going to grab our other bodice and put it face down, so we got our front and our back touching right sides together, and we're going to meet it at the shoulders and sew those shoulders up. So we're just going to sew straight there. I'm going to be using my serger for this sew, but you can use either your serger if you have a serger, or any kind of stretch stitch on your sewing machine, zigzag stitch, lightning bolt stitch. I would recommend you grab a scrap of your fabric that you're going to be using and do different kind of stretch stitches on your sewing machine to see which one works best for you. So let me go ahead and sew those up and we'll get going. Now that our shoulders are sewn, we're going to grab our sleeve. And we're gonna do this for both sleeves. When I cut out my pattern, I marked by kind of coming out a little bit where the circles are on my pattern piece. You can mark it by putting clips on it, make it a little notch, however you want to mark it, because we're going to go over to our sewing machine and we're going to put a gathering stitch from circle to circle, so from mark to mark. Gathering stitch is just a long straight stitch on your sewing machine. So we're going to gather from one place to the other, so that when we gather it, it's going to give us this really cute effect on our sleeve. So I'm going to do that for both, from one point to the other. Alright, so I've set my machine to a straight stitch, a long straight basting stitch. I've pulled my threads back so they don't get jammed in there, and I have a little bit of space to help me pull. I'm going to start at that one mark and I'm going to go all the way around to the other side. I'm going in about 1/4 inch from the edge. You will remove these basting stitches later, so it really doesn't matter. Then don't cut your threads, just keep going till you're up, you have a good little tail, and then I'm going to trim and go to the next one. Again, pull those threads out and go ahead and do a basting stitch on the next sleeve. So now we've got that basting stitch right there, starting from one point to the next. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and tie my basting stitch on one side. That way when I gather it, it doesn't come out. So then I'm going to grab the other side and just pull on it and give it a little gather. Now you may say, how much do I want to gather it? Well, once you go to the next step, once we do that, we're going to grab our top and we're going to open up our top where that arm side is. This is where the sleeve is going to go. So what we want to do is make sure that our sleeve, can't say the word, our sleeve is going to fit. So look, we still have a little bit more space, so you want to make sure how much space you have. So go ahead and gather it so that it fits nicely into your sleeve cap, your arm side. So I'm gonna gather, then I'm gonna tie it so it doesn't come undone when I'm trying to sew it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pin it. So that's our middle section right there. Right sides together. And then I'm gonna go to one side, pin those raw edges together, all the way down. And then I'll go make sure it's all pinned nicely and fitting nicely, and then we're gonna go to the other side and we're gonna do the same for both sleeves. Do you like this? I'm doing like a mix and match on this hoodie. I love camo and I love stripes, and I like doing floral and stripes, and I thought, well, let's do camo and stripes. So I am super excited about this combo. I hope it turns out as amazing as I see it in my head. And you may say, you already have a Game Time hoodie with stripes on their sleeves. Well, there's not enough stripes in my life, so I need some more. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same process to the other sleeve. All right, now I'm gonna head over to my sewing machine or serger and sew around that sleeve so that we can get it together. Okay, so now our sleeves are done and I think this is gonna be gorgeous. And you can go ahead and pull that basting stitch out now, or you know, if you need a seam ripper because I tied them, then you can go ahead and do that. And you've got this cute little like ruffle like effect right there. I love it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and sew our sides. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put our hoodie right sides together. And we're going to match up the armpit and we're going to go down the side to the bottom. And then we're going to go down the sleeve to the arm, down the arm sleeve. Now, I marked my spot where on my pattern it tells me there's like a little gap where it tells me not to sew. I kind of went out a little bit like a little rectangle so I knew exactly where that's at. So we're gonna match up, make sure that your sleeves are matching, and then make sure that when you get to that spot, you're not going to sew over that area. So we're gonna go sew down, stop, start back up at the bottom. So we're gonna leave that little area right there unsewn because that's where we're gonna have our thumb holes. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same for the other side. But while I'm doing that, let me tell you about my fabric. I know y'all ask me about my fabric all the time and I always forget to tell you. Okay, so I am using a French terry. So this is a lighter French terry. Now there's all kinds of French terry. This one is also a French terry, but this is a baby French terry. So it's super, super thin and flowy. And this is a more sturdy French terry. This is a more sturdy French terry. And then this is more like a sweater knit French terry. So it's thicker and it's got better stretch. So when you're purchasing French terry, you might have to look and see what the different weights are. Some is heavier than others, some is thin and light, some I mean, there's all kinds. So usually you have to be careful with the French terry and also trying to see how much stretch content it has, because some of them are not as stretchy as others. Like this one has a good stretch, but some of it doesn't have very much stretch at all. So yeah. But anyway, this is French terry, and this, I got this camel one from Fabmere Fabrics, and then this plain stripe one, I actually got this from Walmart, my local Walmart. So that's where I got it from. All right, so now we're gonna go over to the serger and sew those sides right up. Remember not to sew that little area where your thumb hole is gonna go. Now that my sleeve has been sewn and I have that gap, what I'm going to do is I am going to turn my sleeve around. I guess it'd be better if I start from my bodice, okay? And then you'll see that basically that where that seam is, it gets tucked in for that seam allowance. So I'm gonna seam it. And you can't even tell it's there. When you open it up, there it is. I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine and top stitch. So I'm just gonna top stitch around where that seam allowance is to create that thumb hole. So I'm gonna stitch around it on both arms. I am actually just going to be using a straight stitch on my sewing machine. I think it should be fine. It's just your thumb that's gonna go in there so it won't mess it up. But if you don't feel comfortable doing a straight stitch, you can do a stretch stitch on there. I'm gonna go on one side and then the other. And then I'm gonna come back and put them together and go a little bit back and forth right there so it can keep it closed, because I want it to look really, really good. Remember to always go back and forth when you're doing a stretch stitch when you first start. So I want to make sure that it's all good. Once that's done, as you can see, it's nice and even. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go like sideways so I can catch it right there where it starts, so it can stay closed. I'm just gonna go back and forth right there, that edge. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other end. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other arm sleeve. That is how it looks right there. Then I'm gonna trim all these little pieces, but as you can see, I sewed side, side, up, and down. So let's do the other one. So those cuffs turned out so good. Well, not really cuff, but thumb holes. Look at how good they look. And when you just set them down, you can't even tell. They are there, super, super cute. I love that. We're gonna put our hood aside. I mean, our hoodie aside, and we're gonna work on our hood. I'm gonna grab, so you see how I have it together because it was on the fold, which is great because it gives it like this straight through look, which is so cool. I love. And we're gonna put them right sides together though, and we're going to sew the crown up. So I'm gonna put it right sides together. I'm gonna do this for the liner and the outer, and we're going to pin around the head crown area and so I keep saying pin, but I know I have clips, and I'm so used to pins and so used to saying pins that I always say pin. So what I mean by that is either pin or clip, whatever you use, go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew. All right, now that it is done, we're going to grab our liner and turn it right side out. And we're gonna fit it right into our outer. I am like loving this like really cozy French terry. It's like super soft. I love that. So we're putting them right sides together, and we're going to pin right at the top, or clip, like I said. I keep saying it. And then once we clean or pin the top, I said it right and then I changed it. Then we're gonna do it all the way around the whole face area. So we're pinning, clipping the whole face area, and then we're gonna go ahead and sew it together. This hood is super easy. I love it. I love it so much. So as you can tell, like, we are almost done. We're gonna put the hood on and then we'll hem and we'll be done. Such an easy, quick pattern and super, super cute. I also love that we also have the kids version, so you can make this for yourself and then you can make a matching one for your child, and I might just do that. So it is super quick and super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that face around the face, and we'll come back and attach it, hem, and we'll be done. I wanted to take a moment to apologize about the fact that it gets so dark when we get over here to the sewing machine. I think it's because of the fact that I have that light. So it like gets really bright, and so my camera tries to focus in on it and it gets kind of dark. I hope you can still see everything I'm doing. I'm just sewing around. So yeah, let's do it. Alrighty, this is pretty much it. We're going to turn our hood right side out, tuck that top in. Now if you wanted to, you could certainly top stitch around the whole opening. Sometimes I like to do that, and sometimes I just like to leave it. So it is up to you if you want to go around and top stitch. You can use your stretch stitch on your sewing machine or anything like that. I do love it. I'm like suspending my iron right there. Make sure you steam it. I do love it when I have like a little bit of my fabric showing. So sometimes I will top stitch it, but sometimes I won't. So I don't think I'm gonna top stitch this one. I don't wanna be able to see all the lines and everything on the outside. I just like it to be smooth. I think it gives it a really cool look. So we're gonna go ahead and attach our neck. I have my back right here is where that back seam is. So I'm gonna fold it and find my front. So it's right here. When I'm finding my front, I like to do like a little notch where I mark it. So that way when I'm sewing, I can really see exactly where I wanna go. and then I'm going to match my back and my front and go to the sides, and those will be my quarters. So then when I'm sewing, I am going to attach it to my quarters on my hood, and then it'll be perfectly on. If you don't mark your quarters, a lot of times you won't know exactly where to go, and you'll have a little bit of a rippling on your neckline or something like that because it won't be attached just correctly. So I always make sure that I find my quarters. I'm gonna grab my shoulder seams and I'm gonna go to my front, and then I'll grab my shoulder seams again and go to the back. Now when I'm cutting a little bit here, I'm cutting less than what is allotted for my seam allowance. So once I do my seam allowance on there, once I sew them together, you won't even be able to see that little notch at all. So I'm matching those right sides together. I mean, the front and the back. I'm gonna go to the sides because my shoulders are not my quarters. So you gotta make sure that you do that, because if you go by your shoulder seams, then also your hood will not be correct. Okay, so then now I can either turn my hood on and match those. Make sure your front is matched with your front and your back with your back. Your front is lower, so you know that. So here's my back, and I'm gonna attach it right sides together. So my outer is matching with my outer line, and then I'm gonna go over here to my side quarter right here, and then my front quarter right here, and then my other side. And then we're gonna go over to our sewing machine or serger and sew all the way around all those layers. Make sure when you're sewing that you've got all 3 layers caught on there, so not one goes under and then it doesn't catch. So you want to make sure that you're looking that they're all even, and sew. Friends, it is coming along so beautifully. I am super excited. I think this is gonna be one of my faves for the fall winter season. All we've got left to do is we're just gonna go over and do a 1/2 inch hem allowance on our arms, and on our bottom of our bodice, and we are done. Super quick, super easy, wasn't it? Let me know below who you're making it for. Tell me how fun it was to sew this hoodie. Let me know if you just didn't even know about this pattern, because sometimes we forget about the older patterns on our website. Go check them out. There are so many old good patterns on there that we don't even remember. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Remember to go ahead and share and comment below. Yes, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. Steam and talk. Really, is it that hard to do? Yes. Remember to follow us on Instagram and on Facebook so you can see what everybody else is making, and you can be inspired by their makes to make your own beautiful makes. So I'm going to finish hemming. I'm going to take a couple pictures of it to show you just how cute it is. And I'll see you all next time on our next sewing tutorial. Check out all the other sewing tutorials on this channel. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!